6 Super Bowl championships, and most wins by a quarterback-coach duo all time, including the playoffs. Some terrific names here. You don't even have Bill Walsh and Joe Montana on this list, but Brady and Belichick, Big Ben and Mike Tomlin. Big Ben also calling it a career not too long ago. Some great names, but none bigger and better than Brady and Belichick together. All right, time to check in with Tyler Sullivan from a New England and a Patriots perspective. And we start with where you are, my friend. What's the sentiment here with Tom Brady taking to social media and calling it a career?
Well, it's the end of an era. I mean, it is something that a lot of people around here in New England never thought would happen. I mean, obviously, we saw him move on from Foxborough to Tampa Bay, but ultimately, he was talking about playing until 45, till even flirting around with 50. It felt like this train was never going to end. So it does feel a little bit weird that we're actually at the end of the road here with one of the greatest players to ever put on a Patriots uniform and one of the greatest players to ever step on an NFL field.
And they're set up nicely. You know, Mac Jones is on Foxborough ground now and trying to do things at Gillette that, of course, Tom Brady did so well. I noticed, of course, that you got the Super Bowl plates and the banners behind you. Is there also a conversation of which ones people agree on are the biggest Super Bowl wins in the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick era?
Well, I think that what's fascinating about this announcement that came from Tom Brady today is that 7 years ago today, Tom Brady was playing against the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 49, and that was arguably the most important Super Bowl of Tom Brady's career. I mean, you got to think about the narrative that was going into that game. I mean, what we were talking about 7 years ago, basically right now, is Tom Brady and the Patriots, is this thing going to end? Is this thing not really going to last much longer? I mean, if they lose this Super Bowl, that means they've lost 3 straight Super Bowl appearances that they've been in. All of those championships came in the early 2000s during Spygate. Deflategate was just starting to bubble up here. They drafted Jimmy Garoppolo. You didn't know what the future was going to hold for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots at that point 7 years ago today. And now fast forward, they won that Super Bowl. They won 2 more in New England, and Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and won a 7th Super Bowl. It's pretty remarkable when you kind of think about everything that's happened just from that standpoint. Not even the 20 years, but just 7 years ago today up until now that he's announced his retirement.
And before I let you go, of course, I got to ask you the sentiment of the omission from his social media post. 8 slides long, but none of them that mention the Patriots, Patriot fans, or Bill Belichick.
Yeah, and the chef's kiss to all that was that the actual picture that Tom Brady posted of himself was from the game earlier this season against the New England Patriots. So that was just, I don't know if it's a little twist of the knife or anything along those lines, but certainly noteworthy that we got to obviously pay attention to here. I would hold off picking up the pitchforks in the flames and all that stuff. I would wait to see what happens. Tom Brady is a very, very calculated person. He's somebody that, I've watched for my entire adult life, seeing him become a superstar, not just on the football field, but just in the mainstream media too. He does everything extremely calculated. So for me, I would wait and see. Robert Kraft said earlier this season that he'd be open to some sort of one-day contract, having Tom Brady retire as a New England Patriot. Brady kind of seemed like he was open to that during that Tampa Bay Buccaneers Patriots game earlier this year. I would wait and see what happens before we start going super crazy about Brady omitting the Patriots in this retirement post.
All right, Tyler, certainly appreciate it. Tyler Sullivan again with the breaking news that Tom Brady is officially retiring after our Jason Lockenfora put that out there last week on Friday. Again, the gaudy numbers for one Tom Brady. I grew up West Coast guy. Joe Montana, obviously, the 4 Super Bowl championships for him. But Brady, here's the other thing, too. Outside of the last 2 Super Bowls, so the Bucs Chiefs Super Bowl and then the Patriots Rams Super Bowl in Atlanta 3 years ago, no matter what game and Super Bowl the Patriots played, it was like a close, fun game win.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.